It's so disgusting in my soul that I wanted to share it with someone, because you don't mind, right? It all started with one word, Dad. This was the first person I recognized as a future member of our family. When he first came to pick me up at kindergarten, I shouted loudly, "Daddy has come for me." I was filled with feelings of happiness and pride that I now have it. Even now, I remember exclusively everything about him. He always smelled very strongly of cologne, pungent, spicy aroma, not for a seasoned aroma. He preferred to drink coffee from a special tiny cup that stood on the windowsill and dutifully waited for him. It was a custom to have a cup of coffee after coming home. Sorry, I got a little off topic. After a year of his courtship and my persuasion, they got married. Ah, memories. That day I was wearing a pink dress and 2 ponytails on my head. The smile and delight at what was happening never left my face. What happened next? He moved in with us. A year later, I had a brother. When he came home from school, he was lying on the bed, completely curled up, only his snoring face peeking out. My eyes sparkled with curiosity, and my soul felt warmer at the sight of him. This was our first meeting. I love my brother very much. Even now I love him, despite the fact that he is so similar to him. Sorry, I was taken in the wrong direction again. That day, he demonstratively threw the TV remote control onto the table with great force and shouted at me. Cause, it seemed like nothing. I just didn't turn off the advertising, which he didn't like so much. Apparently, he really didn't like it very much. This was our first quarrel. As you guessed, not the last. Every single day he started getting caught up in the little things. Either I wash the dishes poorly, or I hold the vacuum cleaner incorrectly, or I eat inappropriately or too much. How the poor thing ate him. Naturally, my mother defended me, but the next day he would find a new reason to scream. Even at this, the thought did not leave that he was still good. He drove me hysterical on my birthday, and I finally realized that he wouldn't stop. Love, respect, pride disappeared and were replaced by hatred, contempt, and indifference. Many times I persuaded my mother to divorce him, but she still hoped for the best. Stupid, he had already become a monster who took pleasure in our suffering. I decided to provoke a scandal myself, because it couldn't get any worse. He'd find a reason anyway. After several provocations, he threw a stool at me, but missed. Sorry, I went into too much detail. After 4 years of such a cheerful life, my psyche was disturbed. I cried over literally every little thing, and at night I wandered around in a half-asleep state. He stopped working and sat at home all the time. But that's not all. At night, he began to stand over me. I am a light sleeper, so I woke up. He was standing behind me and looking at me. For what? I would like to know for myself. I told my mother about everything, but she didn't believe me. Can you imagine? After that, I had no choice but to close the door with the latch, but after a couple of days it was gone. He broke it under the pretext that I was closing the door to play on the computer at night. Although he is cunning, I am not stupid either. That night, I decided to spend it and prove that everything I said was true. Having acted out a small scene with my mother, we went to bed, and we ourselves waited for his actions, and he fell for it. After this, my mother decided to divorce him. He tried his best to get out. Taking pity on him, she suggested, "The divorce papers will arrive in a month, so you can live with us during this time." He agreed. There wasn't even a single scandal, but the nightmare crept up when it was not expected. On December 7th, 2011, he raped me at home on my bed. Just 2 days and they would be officially divorced. Ironic, right? Give me a minute, I'll calm down and continue. I don't want to tell you all the details. The only thing I was shocked to hear from my own mother was that she gave him money to escape. For what? Answer me. Why, mommy? I screamed then. She betrayed me. And for whom? For the sake of a piece of dermis, I prayed that he would rot in prison. The investigation dragged on for a year. This year has been pure hell. The investigator did not let him forget this nightmare, because he was collecting details of the crime. Someone else started a rumor about what happened in class. My mother betrayed me, my classmates talked behind my back, and the investigator gave me no rest. I couldn't stand this bouquet of events and decided to commit suicide, but my uncle saved me on the brink of death. Don't worry, I'm already better, so what am I talking about? Oh yes, after a trial, he was sentenced to 15 years of strict regime. The next day, a telegram arrived saying that he had hanged himself. 2 years have passed since then. I changed schools, stopped thinking about suicide, even if not right away, but I forgave my mother. It would seem that everything was fine, but he began to come to me every night. Everything was so realistic. I was in the role of that little girl. Standing in the hallway in front of me, there was a closed door. What does it smell like? Such a familiar smell. Spicy aroma. Can't be. I opened the door and couldn't believe my eyes. He stood in front of me. He was all blue, and his eyes were completely empty and black. I began to shake. and my heart was beating like crazy. I became scared. I wanted to run away, but my legs were motionless. He approached me and began to choke me. Before I woke up, I heard in fragments, "I will definitely take you to hell with me." Now I'm afraid to sleep at night, afraid that one day I won't be able to wake up.